Good morning, I'm Sofia, and this is your market morning briefing for Thursday, September 18th. Starting with the Fed, they just cut rates by 25 basis points yesterday. It's been the first move of 2025, and it's been putting the new range at 4% to 4.25%. And Powell's message is basically that the job market is cooling off, inflation's still sticky. So the Fed is actually trying to support growth without letting things overheat. Markets heard that loud and clear, so the S&P 500 closed up about 0.75% yesterday. But the real celebration is on small caps because the Russell 2000 spiked more than 2% intraday yesterday. Actually, it almost hit a record from 2021 before it faded. But as we were speaking yesterday, that small caps were going to be hugely positively impacted in the near future. And it just shows like how rate sensitive they are. And we really need to be paying attention to these small caps because they might finally lead, maybe not for so long, but we'll have to keep an eye on this because if it becomes a trend and if cuts keep coming, this is going to be huge news for people who are paying attention to these indices, or if you're actually investing on these. It's just a heads up. Moving over to tech, this morning, Nvidia dropped $5 billion into Intel. How do they do this? Well, technically, they bought stock at $23.28, and they announced that they'll co-develop chips for PCs and data centers. Now, technically, Intel CPUs are getting paired with Nvidia GPUs. I know a lot of views, but basically, they're just creating a new tag team. Now, Intel stock's doing really good. It went up 26% pre-market, and it's a lifeline for Intel. And for Nvidia, it's just pretty much cementing their AI ecosystem. And we can see how Nvidia is actually putting up with the market and not letting, as we've seen, Intel is one of their competitors, but we've seen that they are not backing down from this, but actually thinking about it super smart. I am now going to talk about the men we always talk about, and it's not Jerome Powell, it's Donald Trump. I cannot avoid talking about President Trump every morning because he gives us so many headlines. And I really don't want to deviate from the main topic right now, which is him going to the UK for a state visit. But this man must have been really, really popular when he was in high school or college. Okay, but he is in the UK for a state visit, not so much for the photos and all that good, meeting the king, queen, or sitting next to Kate Middleton, as we've seen this early morning. But he is there more to talk business. He is meeting the prime minister. He's talking trade. He's talking about Ukraine, Israel, all that story. And the real thing that we really need to be paying attention to is Microsoft, OpenAI, and other big tech giants that are putting tens of billions into UK infrastructure. And we're seeing how smart these American leaders are thinking about the UK and their infrastructure, so we will probably see a lot of movements towards that. I mean, President Trump is expected to announce more than $10 billion into new deals. The UK government actually says it's a total of 150 billion British pounds of investment lined up, and almost the 8,000 benchmark of jobs tied to it. So no wonder why, I mean, President Trump and First Lady and all of the American guests were getting the royal treatment, sitting next to the prince, sitting next to the princess, all that good. It's just so interesting how we see these amazing treatments. And no wonder, of course, I mean, they're bringing billions and so much growth for the upcoming years for the UK. Talking about spotlights, I can't avoid talking about Lyft and Waymo. They are bringing driverless rides in Nashville in 2026. Now, Waymo runs the cars, okay? And then Lyft integrates it to their app later. And they have the flexible handles maintenance. Right now, Lyft stock is up about 16%. It's been the highest since 2022. I mean, their biggest competitor is technically Uber. Tesla is not in that segment. If we're talking about biggest head-to-head competitor, Uber stock is about 5% down this morning. And I mean, Lyft's trying to build over that AV partnership in Atlanta and the European continent and across the United States. So they're not staying behind. And a lot of people across social media, whether it's X posts or TikToks, they're saying we're asking if Uber is actually going to be left behind, if the future of taxis are going to be self-driving cars. And we're talking about a lot of new technology coming out, and therefore I cannot stop talking about what happened with Meta, yes, because they unveiled their almost $800 Ray-Ban smart glasses with a screen in the lens. So they have a gesture wristband, live captions, AI built in. Okay, now here's the funny story. The demo flopped because yesterday Mark Zuckerberg was doing the demo and it glitched in front of a packed audience. And now earlier this morning when I woke up, I was going through TikTok and I saw how like people were making fun of it and like how it was a flop. Now the stock has slipped. Not the Apple style moment for Mark Zuckerberg really, because it shows how they're like betting smart glasses are like the next step after headphones. We'll have to see how this works out, because actually me personally, I know this is off the topic, but I do have the Ray-Bans and they are amazing at taking pictures, listening to music. You can listen to music with the previous Ray-Bans, the smart Meta Ray-Bans. They're really good. Okay, but they were not extremely high price. Mine, I got them last year. These almost $800 Ray-Bans are really, people are saying they're overpriced, but in other words, we'll have to see how the market reacts to this. Thanks for starting your morning with me. That's your morning briefing, and I will see you tomorrow with more headlines.